Om Gyanam Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadadi Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So we are reading from Sri Isopanisad, mantras 15 to 18. Am I correct? We're starting from text 15?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is the next and final section of the Isopanishad. So here's the context. First, we learned that both spiritual and material happiness come from acting as a part of the complete whole, overflowing with love, completely full. We then learn the qualities of the Lord and the vision and consciousness needed to understand those inconceivable attributes. Then we distinguish between the supreme and everything else, ignorance, false knowledge, materialistic religion, and lesser forms of transcendence. Now that we know what we want, love of Krishna, and why we want it, for complete satisfaction of everything, we engage in bhakti. So, now is the final section, which is engaging in bhakti. After receiving sambandha and some abhidheya, we are also entering into abhidheya and prayojan. After understanding our relationship with Krishna. Mantras 15 to 18 in brief. The highest perfection is to know the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth, begging for his mercy, for loving service. So now, after distinguishing between ignorance and knowledge, after distinguishing between service to the supreme as opposed to service to the demigods, now the Isopanisad is describing to us what is the highest perfection, what is the highest destination of knowing the supreme truth, Bhagavan, and begging for his loving service. Mantra 15 establishes that the Lord is beyond his effulgence. Mantra 16 begs the Lord to reveal this form. Mantra 17 expresses the longing to think of the Lord's form at death. And Mantra 18 begs for mercy and release from sin in order to serve the Lord. So let's read text 15. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tattvam pushanna pavrinu satyadharmaya drishtaye. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tattvam pushanna pavrinu satyadharmaya drishtaye. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. See, such a nice verse. Your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence, which is so nice. But the devotee is saying, kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. Who prayed like this? Who similarly prayed like this? Who can say?
Bhakta Prahlad.
Prahlad Maharaj? He asked the Lord for shelter, but he didn't ask him to show his real form.
Arjuna, after
Yes.
he's, yes.
Yes, Arjuna, yes. Yes, though it wasn't the effulgence exactly, it was more the universal form. But it was like that. It was like so much power and prestige.
Arjuna?
Yes, Arjuna. Yes. There's so much God's glory. God's glory became something that became a problem for him. Right. So sometimes the even the glory of God can become the power of God, not the glory of God, sorry, the power, the sheer effulgence from the Lord can actually block his vision. And the devotee has to approach through love, because that's the way around it. That's the way through it, so that he can actually see the Supreme Lord. Mantra 15 is a prayer to remove the Lord's effulgence so we may see him. So this is a summary of the long purport Prabhupada has given. Mantra 15 is a prayer for the Lord to remove his impersonal effulgence so that his spiritual form may be revealed to his devotee. As Srila Prabhupada described in his purport to the invocation, the Lord's effulgence is the all-pervading spiritual energy known as Brahman. Further spiritual realization leads us to the localized form of the Lord within every atom and within the heart of every living being, known as Paramatma. But the highest spiritual realization is of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Krishna is always blissfully engaging in his own pastimes for the pleasure of his devotees. He also periodically exhibits these pastimes within the material world to attract the materially conditioned souls. By empiric philosophy, one may realize the impersonal Brahman effulgence. By yogic practices, one may realize the Paramatma feature of the Lord situated within the heart. But only by devotional service can one realize Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Prabhupada gives the example that if a man is standing at the train station, then first he sees the train, when the first thing in terms of the train, what he sees is the light coming. At night, especially if the train is there, there's a bright light in front of the train, like this massive one light in the middle, right? It's blinding. And so someone may say, oh, the light has come, the light has come. Then if he keeps standing there and as the train comes closer, it sees a form behind it. And it's actually like this big box behind it that's rumbling behind the light. And that is like the Paramatma. The Paramatma feature of the Lord is a form of the Lord, right? So you may say, well, what's the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan? But Paramatma is more like a deity. It's a two-dimensional revelation of the Lord, where the devotee is able to see the form of the Lord. But you cannot offer worship to the Paramatma feature in the sense of bathing him, dressing him. So it's in that way, sorry, it's like, it's not exactly like a deity. It's even less personal than a deity. But it's a deity in the sense that it's the vision of the Lord. It's not actually interacting with the Lord. But in the deity, one can actually interact. The Lord is actually present there. But still, for most of us, the deity is simply giving darshan. That relationship of service is not established so much. So there's when Dhruva Maharaj sees the Paramatma feature, tears come down his eyes because the vision of the Lord is so wonderful. So this big box of the train is there. But then when one waits longer, then the conductor of the train comes out. The people in the train come out. And then one meets the people. And that is Bhagavan. When the Lord actually meets the devotee, exchanges love with the Lord. And the Lord exchanges love with the devotee, loving relations with the devotee. Then that is the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes in so many places, and just recently I was reading hearing in a tape, he was saying so amazingly. He was saying that each one of us can attain a position similar to that of Mother Yashoda. He said we cannot become Mother Yashoda, but we can attain a position like that, similar to Mother Yashoda. Krishna is always blissfully engaging in his own pastimes, right? So these pastimes are the heart of the spiritual, existence. One who is only Brahman or Paramatma realizes missing these pastimes. And Leela is the first attribute of the Lord. The Lord plays. That's why we have, being reflections of the Lord, part and parcel of the Lord, being parts and parcel of him, we also have that nature to play or enjoy because it comes from Krishna. It comes from the source. How can the result have something that the source is missing? So since we like to engage in pastimes, that tendency is there originally in its perfect form. It's an unlimited form in Krishna. And how does one receive the vision of those pastimes? Well, by empiric philosophy, just by logic and reason, one can only come up to the Brahman platform. Just like Prabhupada said that Socrates was Brahman realized. Just by good philosophy, one can realize that there's a higher truth. Even Immanuel Kant, he was a young philosopher, a young student. He was not a philosopher at that time. And one day he was walking down the street, he describes in his biography. And he says that I noticed that everything is changing, that this world is full of change. This is how he became a great philosopher. He had some experience. He was walking down, he noticed that trees were changing, his body was changing, his friends were changing. Everything was changing and vanishing in time. And then Immanuel Kant says, then I started to think that all this is the world of change. What is that that does not change? What is the unchanging thing behind all this change? So then, because he was a philosopher and not a theologian, he came up with this idea of phenomena, that this world is all phenomena. It passes away. And behind the phenomena is the noumena. And that is the noumena, the unchange behind the change. But then because he was simply using empiric philosophy, he even says that you cannot know the noumena. You know it's there, you know that it's there, but you really can't know it because it's inaccessible. Or Socrates believed that there was something, the soul, consciousness. It exists, but again, he could not describe what is the quality, what are the attributes, what is the form of that consciousness. So by empiric philosophy, one can come to Brahman realization. But even to understand the details of Brahman realization, one has to go beyond speculation to revelation. But this is the ultimate limit of empiric philosophy. That path leads you to Brahman. That path can at most lead you to Brahman. Those who do yogic practices, they realize Paramatma, so through meditation, but they're doing it according to the scriptures. They can come to the Brahman Paramatma realization. And finally, those who perform devotional service can realize Krishna. So Krishna is the highest realization, the highest spiritual realization is Bhagavan, which is understanding Krishna Bhagavan, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And for that highest realization, the highest process is devotional service. And this is why only through devotional service one can realize the highest truth, and that's why devotional service is the highest process. Other processes are very good, but devotional service must be there. Mantras 12 to 14 describe the necessity of understanding Krishna. This is supposed to be Krishna in relationship with his material energies, as we have read. Mantra 15 explains that one must also understand Krishna's relationship with his spiritual potency, the Brahma Jyoti, in order to achieve realization of him. So one time, Ravindra Prabhu came to Srila Prabhupada. He was a PhD in religion. And being very inspired by Krishna consciousness, he told Prabhupada, I want to show the world that God is a person. He's not just impersonal. He's not impersonal. God is personal. And Prabhupada heard him and he said, that's very good. But he said, you should not just tell them that God is not just personal. He is both personal and impersonal. Right? So Prabhupada corrected him and said, yes, that's very good, because those who are aware of the impersonal aspect are unaware of the personal aspect, generally, often. But even then, going the other side and saying that he's only a person and he does not have an impersonal aspect is also not complete realization. So Prabhupada told Ravindra Prabhu, that's very good, because you're establishing personalism. This was one of Prabhupada's purposes. Shunyavadi Pashyatya, that he removed Namaste Saraswati Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. He cut voidism and impersonalism and established Krishna consciousness. So that's one of his purposes. But then in doing that, don't forget that he's also impersonal. He's both. And in our own work, we should remember, in our own teaching, preaching, all these things, that we must, in our enthusiasm to tell about Krishna's personality, we must not forget that he has a spiritual potency that is also Brahma Jyoti, right? Then actually, then actually the greatness of Krishna consciousness, the philosophy, is revealed to people, because people think in terms of either or, but it's both. The Lord is both. But to understand the personal aspect of the Lord is not easy, right? So that's why we're giving them the process to understand Krishna's personal form, which includes the impersonal. Hiranmayena, by a golden effulgence. If one wants to see the absolute truth in full, one has to penetrate beyond the 24 material elements and the glaring effulgence as well. Go through it. Shri Isopanisad points toward this direction, praying for the removal of Hiranmaya Patra, the dazzling covering of the Lord. The author is praying. This is how important is the personal form of the Lord. That though he's seeing the impersonal form, he's saying, this is actually not my ultimate realization. Rather, this is an obstacle. Please remove it. Unless this covering is removed, so one can perceive the real face of the personality of Godhead. Factual realization of the absolute truth can never be achieved. Satya is pure dharmaya unto the devotee. The killings of various demons, such as Agha, Baka, Putana, and Pralambha, were but pleasure excursions for him. In his village of Vrindavan, he enjoyed himself with his mother, brother, and friends. And when he played the role of a naughty butter thief, all his associates enjoyed celestial bliss by his stealing. The Lord's fame as a butter thief is not reproachable, for by stealing butter, the Lord gave pleasure to his devotee, pleasure to his pure devotees. Everything the Lord did in Vrindavan was for the pleasure of his associates there. Dharmi, Jnani, Yogi, and Bhakti. So then, sorry, I was just thinking on this verse and then I forgot to mention that how Prabhupada is so amazing, right? In this verse, he all of a sudden puts like this very intimate realization of Krishna. That Krishna is the reservoir of so many pastimes, and how just for the sake of pleasure he is engaging in all these pastimes for no other purpose. In the Vedanta Sutra, the author asks, why does the Lord, who has no purpose to fulfill, why does he engage in all these pastimes? And the author says, simply for lila, right? He creates this world, he engages in pastimes, all these things, simply for lila or play. Why does he need play? Because it is his very nature. He doesn't need it. It's just the nature of the supreme absolute truth. It's play. Actually, I think it was Dr. Radhakrishnan. He said that through play, we can understand the nature of the absolute. And this is a fact. Because it's the purest thing in this world. When children play, it's like so sweet. There's no envy there. There's no lust there. There's complete happiness there. They're just completely submerged in their play. Of course, because it's the material world, very soon they start crying and there's problems. But again, it's a glimpse. It's a reflection of who Krishna is. So we do everything for pleasure. That's the only purpose of anything in this world is happiness. We're pursuing happiness. And that's the only purpose why Krishna does anything is for pleasure. because he has nothing to attain. And again, being part and parcel of Krishna, we also carry that attribute. We like to play. But until we engage in the playful pastimes of Krishna, we will never be satisfied. And if we once attain that state, we are fully satisfied. So now we talk about the karmi, the jnani, the yogi, and the bhakta. Here, in contrast to mantras 12 and 13, it is clearly stated, as it is generally in Prabhupada's books, that the jnani who seeks liberation and the Brahman is superior to the karmis, who worship the demigods for material pleasures. Higher than the jnani is the yogi who worships the supersoul, and higher is the bhakti who worships Bhagavan. How is the worshipper of Brahman higher than the karmi? Yet in mantra 12 and 13, it is stated that he or she is lower. The point is that misapplied knowledge of God is more dangerous than materialism. Like misapplied knowledge is more dangerous than ignorance. But one can also say that knowledge is better than ignorance, and interest in God, even impersonally, is higher than materialism. So Prabhupada, at times, as we discussed last time, we discussed this in detail last time, he says both things. He says how sometimes impersonal knowledge can be more dangerous than no knowledge of God, because as they say, little knowledge is more dangerous. We have only a partial understanding, and that can lead us to a long detour where we pursue that, forgetting the personal aspect of Krishna. But on the other hand, he also says that if someone is pursuing that, they are still coming closer to Krishna, right? They have some knowledge of the Lord, and that's better than complete materialism. There's three features of the absolute truth. The first one is Bhagavan. The Bhagavan feature is sustaining the others. Therefore, the speaker is appealing to this feature of the Lord. Lord Krishna, the supreme Bhagavan feature, is an ocean of bliss, and this is seen in his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan. Even pastimes that might appear immoral, that is, stealing butter, are transcendently wonderful. To enter those pastimes is not easy. The example of the cowherd boys is given. Lord Krishna is always engaged in such pastimes in the 5 rasas. So in the Krishna book that is in the Bhagavatam, it's described how the cowherd boys are playing with Krishna because they have accumulated heaps and heaps of pious activities over many, many births. So though it is easy, it is not easy, right? The process of devotional service is very easy. We can love Krishna and feel perfectly happy and satisfied. So in that way, it's very easy. We can become a devotee in a moment's time. But it is not easy. It is not easy to actually attain that ultimate state. For that, it takes great mercy. It's not easy to play with Krishna. You're playing with the Supreme Brahman. The Supreme Brahman is playing. One must become like Brahman before one can play with Brahman, right? So, and everything that the good does is good, right? Krishna's goodness himself. So it's not that Krishna is sometimes immoral and sometimes moral. He's always perfect. His so-called immoral activities are always perfect. The 3 features of the absolute truth, the first one is Paramatma. The Paramatma feature, this is the second one. Paramatma feature is maintaining the material creation. So if Lord Krishna is always enjoying in the spiritual world, we might wonder, how is he maintaining the material world? This is done through the Supersoul. One should learn the 3 Purusha avatars who create and maintain the material world. So Krishna, as another function as the Paramatma feature. He's a full Supreme Lord as Paramatma, but in this form, he is also maintaining all the three worlds. And that activity is not his main activity. This is why Krishna doesn't do it as himself, Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan. He has an expansion of himself as the Paramatma carry out those activities because they are less important. Just like if a person is very wealthy, they generally give up their role as CEO, right? Jeff Bezos is so wealthy because he was the head of Amazon. But once he became wealthy, he gave up his role as the head of Amazon. Because if you're so wealthy, then why will you work hard? If you're so powerful, why do you need to work? So Krishna doesn't, this is not his main activity. This is a side thing, a small thing that he does. And that is carried out by the Paramatma feature. So here it said one should learn the three Purusha avatars. Anyone know the three Purusha avatars? We can each mention one each. Someone can mention one.
Karnodakshaya Vishnu.
Very nice.
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
Very nice.
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Oh, very nice. And which one of these is the same as Paramatma?
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Yes. Yes. So Karana Dakshaya Vishnu is the one who's lying on the causal ocean, from the pores of his body all the universes are emanating. That's the biggest Vishnu, you can say, the big Vishnu. All the universes, from the pores of his body, as he breathes out, they come out. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each one of those universes as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, as a Paramatma feature, enters within the heart of every living being. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is also the Vishnu that the demigods go to for help, because he is the Vishnu within the universe. In every stage, anything, in every aspect of the universe, we always need the Lord. I mean, the Lord is actually running everything. We're just kind of, the demigods know, they're just making a show. They're like, given different assignments for their own benefit. But actually, Lord Vishnu is doing everything. The Lord does everything. What do we do? What can we control? Nothing. The first one is Brahman. Undifferentiated Brahman isn't everything. Perfect knowledge means to understand Lord Krishna as a source of Brahma Jyoti. This verse is proof that the impersonal theory that we and God are one is not true, because if it was, we would not have to pray to have the effulgence taken away so we could see the face of the Lord. Such a nice argument that if God and his effulgence were the same thing, then why in the Isopanisad, why in the Upanishads, which are the authorities in spiritual knowledge, why is the author praying that you please remove this? This light is too blinding. I want to see the sun, so please remove the sunlight. In one sense, they're one and different. So when, there's the sun means the sunlight also, right? But in one sense, they're also different. That is achintya bheda bheda, the oneness and difference. So without it being removed, they cannot see the actual form of Krishna. To realize God is a great science. It is not easy. Again, it is not easy. Even if one becomes advanced through Sankhya and one realizes the 24 elements, or impersonalism, and one realizes the Brahma Jyoti, one will still not see the Lord face to face. Somehow one has to get the potency to penetrate the elements and the veil of Brahma Jyoti to see him in person. So we read the story of Gopakumar, and in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, in that story, we see that how he is traveling through so many universes. He's breaking out, first of all, through this material universe, the 24 elements. And then he goes through the Brahma Jyoti. Then he attains the Vaikuntha planets. Then he goes through those, and then he comes to Golok Vrindavan. So it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. It's very, very difficult. The devotee, as I was discussing last time maybe, even if there's one iota of material desire, will stop at the place where that desire is attracting him. So when he leaves, he goes first to the heavenly planets. The apsaras are there. All the gardens are there. All these things are there. If he had any material desire, he would stop there because those material desires would keep him there. Let me enjoy this. Then the higher level of pleasure is intellectual, mystical pleasure. If he had any attraction to yogic powers, then when he went to Satyalok, he would stop there. But because he's a pure devotee, he doesn't stop anywhere. He keeps going, and then he breaks out of this. These 24 elements are not easy. There's 5 coverings to the universe, and each one is 10 times the size of the previous one. And the first covering is 10 times the size of the universe, right? But this process can become very easy by the mercy of the Lord. This is why the devotee is always praying for the mercy of the Lord. Because by his mercy and the mercy of the devotees of the Lord, we can zap through all of this. And now mantra 16. Let's see the tune for this one. Pushan ekarsha yamasurya prajapatya vyuha rashmin samuh Pushan ekarshe yamasurya prajapatya vyuha rashmin samuha. No, Pushane karsha yamasurya prajapatya vyuha rashmin samuha tejo. Yatte rupam kalyana tamam tatte pashyami yo savaso purushasoham asmi. O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I. So now, again, he's requesting the Lord, please remove this effulgence so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal person. You are the eternal personality of Godhead, like the sun, like unto the sun, as am I. So now Prabhupada will explain, what does this mean? You are the eternal supreme personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I. Prayer to realize the Lord himself and our relationship with him. Such a beautiful painting, right, of Krishna. In mantra 16, the devotee prays, along with realizing the form of the Lord, to also realize his own spiritual position in relation to the Lord. The living entities are compared to the rays of the sun, as they are qualitatively the same as the Lord. The name Bhagavan, signifying the personal form of the Lord, establishes him as the maintainer and guardian of the living entities. For the devotees, he personally guides them on the path of spiritual realization. So when the devotee says, as am I, as it is mentioned in many verses, Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bahunam Vidadati Kaman, that this means that the soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme, but quantitatively different. We are the rays of the sun. So you are that supreme person, as am I. Not that I am that supreme person, but as am I, in the same quality as you are, I am also. And so realization of the Supreme is connected with realization of oneself. We are a realization of oneself means realization of the Supreme, because we are intrinsically connected with him. If we realize the sun rays, we will only realize it if we realize the sun. If we realize the sun, we will know the sun rays as well. So self-realization and God realization are intrinsically connected, but they're not the same. God is God, and the self is the individual living beings are the individual living beings. So in this text, in the previous text, it was simply remove your effulgence. In this text, it's saying remove your effulgence, but also please allow me to realize my own spiritual position in relation to you. And then at the end, it said that he personally guides them. He guides the soul on the path of spiritual realization. Which verse of the Gita says this? Who knows?
Dadami buddhi yogatam hinama.
Yes. Tesham evanukam bharatam aham agyanacham tava nashimakam bhavastu jnana deepena bhashrata. What verse were you saying? You know that from the beginning?
I was saying
Tesham
Tesham satata yuktana.
yuktam. Yes. Bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam inama vyantite. So, dadami buddhi yogam tam. So he says it twice. He says, I give the buddhi, the intelligence on how they can come to me. And then in the next verse, he says, from within the heart, with a shining lamp of knowledge, I destroy the darkness born of ignorance. Again, the speaker feelingly appeals to the Lord to remove the Brahmajyoti effulgence, obscuring his beautiful face, referring to him in different features in which he is kind to the people. He and the Lord are one in quality, like the sun and its rays. The oneness of the sun and its rays is similar to our oneness with Krishna. Just as within the sun there is the sun god, similarly within Goloka Vrindavan, from which the Brahmajyoti comes, there's Lord Krishna enjoying his pastimes. Again, this principle of achintya bheda bheda tattva is touched upon. So the Upanishads actually teach us this principle of oneness and difference. And that is their overarching philosophy. Not oneness, not difference. But like Prabhupada is telling Ravinda Sur Prabhu, both oneness and difference. That is called bheda bheda. And this oneness and difference, because how can something be both one and different? That is inconceivable. So that is therefore called achintya, inconceivable to material intelligence. And then the other point here is that Brahma Jyoti actually emanates from Golok Vrindavan. It's the effulgence of the Lord's abode. Just like the sunlight is the effulgence of the sun god's abode. So now we are speaking about the Bhagavan feature in detail, the highest and third one. The impersonalists are dazzled by the Brahma Jyoti and cannot see the Lord's face. The three features of the absolute truth are progressively more auspicious. The three features of the absolute truth are progressively more auspicious. The words of this mantra are clearly not supporting impersonalism. So all the words of the scriptures have to be seen not separately, but in context. So if God is simply impersonal, then why would he pray for it to be removed? Similarly, if we are God, then why would he want to see God? Right? So this is why we need a devotee to understand the meaning of these words, because the way Krishna writes is in a way that we can be misled if we don't learn it from a pure devotee. And that's why Krishna says in the Gita, this is the most confidential knowledge. Prabhupada asks that, well, every person in this world has come across Gita, just about. There are, over 700 translations of the Gita. It's been printed maybe 1 billion times. So in what way is it confidential? Everyone has it. It's confidential because even though you have the book, you cannot understand it unless we are hearing it from a pure devotee of the Lord who can explain it to us. And this is why it's said in the scripture that Krishna actually likes to speak in very elusive ways. He could be more clear. The Vedas could be more clear. But why he does this? Because the path of knowledge is also the path of surrender. To know that knowledge, to actually understand it, we must surrender to the devotee of the Lord. We must hear it from the devotee. Therefore, Om Gyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Shilakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. It is a spiritual master that removes the darkness of ignorance, that enlightens our heart. If the book itself was clear, if the book itself was sufficient, we would have no need for that. We would just read the book. So we need the help of a pure devotee to understand the words of the scriptures, which are intentionally somewhat elusive at times, but very obvious to the devotee. And the Bhagavatam also says that the path to transcendence is hidden in the hearts of the Mahatmas. Mahajana Yenagata Santapanta, in the hearts of the Mahajans. So what are the features of the Bhagavan feature? In Srila Jiva Goswami's Bhagavat Sandarbha, he defines Bhagavan as he who possesses all six opulences in full. And this is what we read in the Gita so many times. Prabhupada describes this. This is found in Jiva Goswami's Bhagavat Sandarbha. And what are these qualities? Renunciation, strength, fame, knowledge, wealth, and beauty. Now, all of us possess all six of these. We have some renunciation, right? If a squirrel comes and eats some of the vegetables outside, we may have some, okay, let him eat, right? There's some renunciation there. We have some strength, we have some fame, we all are famous to some degree, we have some knowledge, we have some wealth, and we all have some beauty, hopefully for some time at least. But we have very minute quantities of these in the materially conditioned state. So then what is the definition of God? The definition of God is anyone who possesses these six things in full, that person is God. So that's the definition. People say, well, how do you, whatever and whoever or whatever thing has these six things in full, that is God. So this is those things. So in this material world, we see that how people who have a lot of wealth, they may not have fame, right? They may be infamous, like Elon Musk, right? He has so much wealth, but then he became a little infamous for some time at least. They have a lot of wealth, but then why are they going into politics? Because though they have wealth, they don't have power. And then they're running after power. And he tried for power, but then he is reminded very quickly to not try for the power. Otherwise, his wealth would go away. So to keep one, we have to generally give up the other. Einstein was super intelligent. He has so much knowledge, but he was not so beautiful, right? No one puts Einstein as a model, and didn't have him wear clothes for pictures, right? No, he was intelligent, but he wasn't very wealthy. And even his intelligence was limited. He made mistakes. He made the atom bomb, which he regretted later on so much. He helped make it. So if someone has all six of these things in full, that is Bhagavan. That is Krishna, the all-attractive person. Why is he all-attractive? So sometimes people say, well, explain to me, what does the word Krishna mean? So this is the way we explain it. Krishna means the all-attractive. And Prabhupada described, what does all-attractive mean? It means one who has all six of these things in full. All-attractive doesn't just mean all beautiful. That is the most important quality, because that's what attracts us most, is beauty. But attraction also means people who are very wealthy are also very attractive. People who are very famous are also very attractive. So all attractive means all six of these things. Now we go into the actual meaning of the word Bhagavan. Bha means maintainer and guardian. He fully maintains his devotees, guides them on the path to devotional perfection. Ga means guide or leader or creator. He gives the desired result of devotional service by giving himself to the devotees. He helps them to see him face to face. Thus he helps them reach him in Golok Vrindavan. And Van means every being lives in him, and he lives in every being. He can bestow all necessary qualifications on the devotees so he can reach him, so the devotee can reach him. So he is the maintainer, he's the guide, and he is present in every living being. This is the meaning of the word itself, Bhagavan. He is the origin of Paramatma. The Lord is the cause of all causes, so he is the source of his own enjoyment through his internal potency. The external potency, which is not exactly directly manifested from him, comes from the Purushas. Through them, he creates, maintains, and destroys the material creation. The jivas are also differentiated parts of the Lord's self, and when they desire to enjoy independently, they are put into this world, and they bring this world to life by their energy. But he is the ultimate controller as the supersoul, so there's a gulf of difference between the Lord and the jivas. And he is also the origin of Brahman, the all-pervading feature of the Lord, which exists in all states, and from which all jivas have come, is known as Brahman. Lord Krishna is the origin of Brahman and Paramatma, so he is the source of all jivas and everything that exists. One who understands this becomes a devotee, who is fully attached to him and relishes being with other devotees glorifying him. The imperfect devotees who have only realized Brahman and Paramatma cannot appreciate these activities of the pure devotees. The Lord favors these pure devotees, which also cannot be understood by the jnanis and yogis, who think that advancement comes through their own strength. But the Lord is very kind to the devotees. Okay, so we will stop here. Next time we will do 17 and 18. Perfect timing, it's 8 o'clock. And please, if there's any comments or questions, we can talk about them now. So Janya, yes.
Hare Krishna Guruji, I might be asking a very basic question.
Yes. Actually, so
Like
Janya,
what?
you can just call me Prabhuji.
Okay,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
that's how we refer to one another.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh, what does it mean? I mean, can you define the meaning of realization of Bhagavan? As in, now I understood after getting into ISKCON, I understood that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And I realized that. And I also realized the relationship with Krishna. I have that bonding, right? So is that what does mean realization of Bhagavan, or is there anything else?
So there's yes, that is the realization of Bhagavan, but there's different degrees of realization of Bhagavan itself. One is to first of all understand, right? Intellectually, spiritually, we understand that Krishna is a person. So that is one level, but further than that is to actually experience his personal form, qualities, pastimes. So that is very difficult. That's the part which is saying, oh, this is very difficult. That is many, many lifetimes maybe, or at least a whole lifetime of devotional service. So yes, we have realization, but to what degree? Just like people sometimes say that I have seen God. And it may not even be false. Maybe they did see God. But the question is, how much did they see God? Right? We all are seeing God. When we go to the temple and see the deity, Prabhupada says, you are seeing God, because Krishna is present in the deity. But though we are seeing God and Krishna is seeing us, we are also seeing stone. Right? We are thinking, oh, this is stone here. We're not seeing him in full. So the question really is have we or have we not just that, but the question is how much have we realized Bhagavan? That realization of the full understanding of Bhagavan is not easy. Yes.
Okay. And one more question. We talk about Brahman here, right?
Brahman,
So
yes.
is there
Yes.
any connection between the term Brahman that we are using today in our verses versus the actual Brahmins that we see in temples and all?
So glad you did this. So there's a distinction between Brahman, the Supreme Lord, and Brahmanas, which are those pursuing Brahman. Brahmana, Brahmeti iti Brahmana, that one who knows Brahman is a Brahmana, or one who is pursuing Brahman is a Brahmana. So one who is a Brahmana is someone who is pursuing Brahman. Brahman, Brahmana, but they're two separate words. And Brahmana is a person who is the living being. And Brahman refers to the effulgence of the Lord, or Brahman can also refer to the Lord himself. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Because Krishna is ultimately spiritual. So one way to refer to God is spiritual. So sometimes you'll find even the personal form is referred to as spiritual. Om.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam,
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Dev. Very nice class, Prabhuji. So 15 and 16 are both prayers, right?
Yes.
And I still remember in the Nectar of Devotion, one of the anga was to pray to the Lord. And then
Yes.
in that we discussed the three types of prayers, which is Saprarthanatmika, Dainyabodhika, and then Lalasamai. So which type of prayer would these two be?
Wow. So amazing question. Oh, the question itself is so amazing. Yes. So let's remind ourselves these three types. Some practica, what does that refer to?
The person who, the devotee who's praying with a heartfelt emotion to attain the bhava stage.
Very
And
good.
then Dainyabodhika is expressing your humility, and then Lalasamai is from somebody whose bhava has awakened.
Lala Samai is to request for a
Particular
spiritual
service.
service, right? Yes. So I think it may be the first one. This category comes in the first one. Requesting to see the form of the Lord is requesting to please reveal yourself to me. That is my guess. That I think it is the first one.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Very nice question. Look at this. This is Krishna consciousness since childhood. So amazing, huh? Thank you. Any other reflections, thoughts? Okay, wonderful. So I will share the homework. I'm sorry, I did share it, I think, until until maybe text 10, but I haven't shared it since that time. But I shared it back in the previous round. So maybe some of you have it, but many of you, I think some of you don't. So I'll reshare that homework today, right now, after the class. So please try to finish that. Next time we'll finish Nectar of Instruction. And then I think it's exam time, right? Nectar of Instruction we've done, and Isopanisad. Both of those together, then there's an exam for it. And once you do that exam, you complete this module. Those of you who have done the previous two modules, the Bhagavad Gita and the Nectar of Devotion, you will have then completed Bhakti Shastri. And want to mention that some of you are not taking the exam. That's also okay. But those of you who are, please, I'll send out that Excel sheet. I think Rashmi Mataji has that Excel sheet. We will send that out, and you can write your name in there. And then also to take the exam, one has to have completed all the homework. So make sure to email it all to me so I have it for record. You complete all the homework and attended all the classes, either in person or the recordings. So if you miss something, then you just attend that. That's the minimum requirement to take the exam. And we also need to be chanting 16 rounds every day. So one needs all those things in place in order to have the exam. Okay, there's some question here. Okay, we don't have assignments after verse 11. Okay, so I'll share those on the group now. And those of you who are in the previous batch should have received your certificates, but it seems like you haven't. So I will look into that and get those to you.
Raji, my preceptor has not received any of the emails of the questions.
No, so I post the questions on the WhatsApp group. That's where the homework questions are posted, right?
And what about NOD and NOI exam questions?
So NOD is already passed. And so this one will be NOI, Nectar of Instruction, and Isopanisad. These
Together.
two. Yes, together. Nectar of Instruction and Isopanisad, right?
So it'll be next week?
No, next week we'll finish it. Then we take like a few weeks off, so you have time to study. So then you have like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after that to complete everything. Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining.
Prabhuji, I'm sorry, I have a question
Sure.
about the exam.
Yes.
So how many classes should we have to attend? Like, is there a percentage or all of them? Because I think I may have missed one or two, but I do watch all of the recordings and go
Yeah,
through
so
them.
whichever one you missed, you can go back and listen to the recording because all the recordings are there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
all.
all right if I missed one or two.
Well, see, it's on an honor basis. So that's I don't actually I don't keep track. So really it's up to the students to do it.
I meant by missing, I meant that I miss like during live, but I do go through all
Yes,
of
of
them.
course. No, that's the
Yeah.
thing that there's some few students that because of certain time conflict, they never attend in person, they attend online. They always listen to the recording. That's not recommended because online is when we listen live, then we listen better and we can ask questions, and that's the Bhakti Shastri course. But definitely, if you're missing just a few, then you can, if you were attending live, then a few of those you can listen to the recording. So that is no problem. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ananda Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry, I won't take too much of time. I just wanted to know, this is my first time giving the exam. So the exam would be at our proctor's place. Would it be on a certain date that you decide?
So in that Excel sheet, you'll
Okay.
write the name of the proctor and their email address.
Okay.
And then I will send it to them. And since they are the proctor, they will keep it nicely. They won't show it to you, etc. And then you arrange with them when you both are free and would like to take it within a reasonable time period. So like, not like 1 month later, you try to do it within a reasonable time period.
Okay.
And then once you take it, then immediately right after you're done, you email it back to me. You email it to me. And while you're taking it, the proctor is making sure that it's, you're not looking at the book or it's closed notes, it's closed book. So then they also, you CC them also. So they are part of the process and they ensure that, yes, everything is.
Okay. And would it be, so we can, we don't need to write it on pieces of paper. It could be digitally, and that way we can send it to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yes. No. You can do it digitally. You can write it on a piece of paper and scan it, depending on how you study. Some people have different preferences. But the thing that I do check is if you've completed all the homework. So I don't actually go through and read everything and grade it, but I do check that you've done it. So that's important that you send all the homework. If you have been sending, that's perfectly fine. But by the time you take the exam, you've emailed me all the homework. And I just shared on the group all the homework. So if anyone missed one or something, then complete that and email it to me. Again, yeah, if your life is busy and you cannot take it immediately, you can take it 2 months later. But the later you do it, the more you will forget. So we encourage to do it as soon as possible. Okay. I guess we finished.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the course. I just had a quick question also about the exam. I'm doing it for the first time also. Is there a format to it, and is there a time, allowed time, or is it time restricted?
Yes, Prabhu. So I will actually, I forgot to mention that I will send out like a little description of, okay, so the format is there's always some multiple choice questions and fill in the blank questions. And then there's the verses for those 2 books, the Isopanisad, Nectar of Instruction. You need to write down the verses, the Sanskrit and the translation. You need to answer the questions. And then at the end, there's an essay question. And I give you the essay question in advance, so you can actually prepare that question. The questions that come in the exam are all from the homework. So that's the benefit, and that's why doing the homework automatically prepares you for the exam. All the questions in the exam are coming directly from the homework. So if you complete the homework, you're completely fine. As far as the questions go, if you know the verses, then you're completely fine, because all the verses are already told in advance. These are the verses you need to learn. Not the whole Isopanisad, just those few verses that are mentioned in the homework. And then the essay question, I tell you in advance. So everything in the exam, you know in advance. So there's nothing, kind of unknown. But of course, the homework is a lot of questions, and I just choose some, and I change them. Like it's not exactly the same question, because this is in multiple choice. But the homework prepares you for it. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Prabhuji, I am.
Yes.
I'm sorry to bother you and interject here.
No problem.
Email saying that he's taking the Bhakti and then send him the questionnaire for the exam so he can proctor the exam. He was waiting for the NOD because he prepared for NOD and he didn't get the questions. So we were still waiting on it. But
okay. So we'll discuss this offline.
okay.
You can message me or call me, and then we'll get up to date.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Sorry to interject here.
No problem. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will be in touch next week at the same time, and Saturday. And happy Kartik. Kartik is coming very soon. Is it tomorrow? Kartik's first day of Kartik is tomorrow, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay.
26th.
6th. Okay. First day of Kartik is 6th. So you have to think of our Kartik vows. Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you so